Hi guys, let's start today's discussion. Cob Web model, unstable equilibrium. Um, Here, quantity is in x-axis and price in y-axis. Supply curve is steeper and demand curve is sorry for the mistake. Supply curve is steeper and demand curve is flatter. And with the producer bringing quantity in the market with the price P1. In the price P1, producer producer bringing quantity at P1, producer bringing quantity S1, and buyer wants quantity to D1 with excess supply by producer. Now consumer say I am going to buy D2 price. If you want me to buy your excess supply S1, you have to sell me your quantity to me at D2 level at price P2. At price P2, let me clearly draw a line and show it to you all so that you can have better clarity. 1 second, I will take pens. I hope I took. Okay, see here I'm going to draw x, y, here quantity and price. Supply curve is steeper and demand curve is flatter. In the price P1, producer producing S1 quantity and consumer demanding D1 quantity. Now producer will ask consumer to that, so for my S1 quantity how much you are willing to pay. So with producer question, now consumer will reply saying that, see, if you want me to buy your excess supply S1, you have to reduce price to P2 D2 price. So now what consumer saying, I am going to ready I am ready to buy quantity at D2 level. So now producer will say, if you are buying my quantity at D2 level, then I am not going to sell you in original price. I am going to reduce my quantity to PS2 S2. Okay, supply is in S2 point. So consumer will say, okay, you are now creating excess demand. Here what will happen, supply is supply is supply is inelastic and demand is elastic. Okay, so S2 quantity, and now what consumer told, I am ready to buy your quantity S2 level quantity to at price D3 at price D3. Okay, price D3 for your S2 supply at price P3 at price P3 at price P3 pre sorry P3. And then so for P3 demand by consumer, now producer what he will say, okay, if you are making this much changes in your price, now I will sell you quantity at S3 level. Supply curve, sorry, and demand curve. Okay, and so D3 level. So in this way, both supplier and buyer or consumer and producer they both going away from equilibrium point. That's why we call it as a cobweb model unstable equilibrium. Here I'm explained, I wrote it, that is only. I'm going to I'm going to explain you once again what I draw a diagram here. X in price X, sorry, in quantity X curve, and I took price in a Y curve, and supply curve is steeper, and demand curve is flatter. Demand curve is flatter at price P1. consumer consumer demanding D1 quantity, and supplier bought quantity S1. So with the excess supply D1 S1, now consumer asking reduce price by D2. D2. I am ready to buy S1 your quantity. S1 your quantity. S1 quantity, so that now what the producer will say, okay, if you want to buy D2 level quantity, excess quantity as well as all quantity, and I am not going to sell you in the original price, I am reducing my quantity to S2. So with reducing the quantity, now what consumer will say, okay, if you are reducing the quantity, now I am ready to pay you D3 amount, D3 amount is P3, and with the rise in the price, now consumer will say, okay, if you are raising your demand by or your price by D3, then I am ready to sell you S3. With little bit changes in the price, now producer is going in changing quantity in much larger space. Okay, it's same in this way, both are going away from equilibrium point. That's why we call it as a unstable cobweb model. Thank you for watching, guys. This is the concept I'm going to explain you, and if there is any error, if you want to add anything, please let me know. Please do comment on below comment section. Thank you for watching.